Picture this. You walk into an Apple store in September 2026. You're ready to upgrade. You've got the money, and then you realize the iPhone you actually wanted isn't there because Apple did something this year that they've never done before. And honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about it. Here's the thing though. The phones they are releasing this fall, there's one feature on the iPhone 18 Pro that has been on professional cameras for decades, and Apple is finally putting it in your pocket. I'll show you exactly what that means and what it's going to do to your photos. This is everything we know about the iPhone 18 Pro right now in May 2026, 4 months before launch. Apple's high-end iPhone Fold will get most of the attention this year, but there are some genuinely useful upgrades planned for the iPhone 18 Pro models, including Apple's first ever 2-nanometer chip. I've gone through every major leak, MacRumors, Macworld, Ming Chi Kuo, and pulled out what actually matters for real people deciding whether to upgrade. And there are a few things in here that I think most videos aren't going to give you the full honest picture on. So, let's go. Apple did something weird this year. With the iPhone 18 lineup, Apple is going to change the timing for new iPhone releases. The iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max will launch in the fall of 2026 as usual, alongside the new foldable iPhone. But the more affordable iPhone 18 and iPhone 18e models won't come out until spring 2027. Read that again. If you want a standard iPhone 18, you're waiting until 2027. This is a big departure for Apple. It means that every new iPhone releasing in September 2026 will have a price tag of $999 or more. So Apple essentially looked at their September event and said, we're only bringing the expensive stuff, which is bold or calculated, probably both. Customers who want to upgrade during the standard fall window will need to opt for one of the more expensive iPhone models. Those who want a better deal will have to wait, and I'm not going to pretend that's not a move designed to push people toward the Pro, because it absolutely is. But here's the thing, the Pro models this year, there's actually a legitimate case for them. Let me show you why. Apple's next generation A20 Pro chip is expected to use TSMC's first generation 2-nanometer process. The A19 Pro chip is 3 nanometer. With a 2-nanometer architecture and a new packaging design, the A20 Pro should deliver solid year-over-year performance and power efficiency gains. Now, you've heard new chip, faster chip every single year since 2010. So what does 2 nanometer actually mean in real life? Roughly 15% better performance and up to 30% improved energy efficiency compared to the current chip. 15% faster, 30% more efficient. The efficiency number is the one that matters because that 30% efficiency gain flows directly into battery life. And the battery is already getting bigger on top of that. Leaks suggest the iPhone 18 Pro will include a battery of at least 5,000 milliamps, specifically around 5,000 milliamps in models with a physical SIM card slot, and 5,200 milliamps in eSIM only configurations. For context, the current iPhone 17 Pro Max features 4,823 milliamps. So you're getting a bigger battery and a chip that uses it more efficiently. Combined, users might see noticeably longer runtime, potentially approaching 2 days of moderate use. 2 days from an iPhone, I'll believe it when I test it. But the numbers behind it are real. The chip is also expected to use a packaging technique called wafer-level multi-chip module. This places the processor and memory on the same wafer rather than connecting them through separate components. That's a very technical way of saying everything talks to everything faster, less latency, more speed, less heat, the kind of improvement you feel but can't explain to your family at dinner. Okay, this is the one. This is what I was talking about at the top. Apple may introduce variable aperture technology to the 48 megapixel main camera on the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max. This has long been a feature limited to high-end professional cameras, variable aperture, on a phone. Let me explain what this means, because I think it's being undersold everywhere. Right now, that on every iPhone ever made, the aperture is fixed. The lens opening is one size always. What that means is when it's bright outside, the camera has to use software tricks to avoid overexposure. When it's dark, you're limited by that fixed aperture size. Variable aperture would let the main lens adjust dynamically. Wider for low light shots, pulling in more light. Narrower for portraits, giving you better subject separation and sharper depth of field. Think about the last time you tried to shoot a photo in bright sunlight and it came out washed out. Or the last time you tried to blur a background in a portrait and it looked like a bad software filter. Variable aperture fixes both of those. Mechanically, the leak behind this comes from Ming-Chi Kuo. The guy has been right more times than he's been wrong on Apple. Now, I do need to be honest with you here. There is a version of this rumor that says only the Pro Max gets it. Variable aperture cameras on the Pro Max specifically are what multiple leaks point toward. If that's the case, the standard 18 Pro is in a weird spot, and we'll talk about who should buy what at the end, but the camera story doesn't stop there. Most iPhone 18 models, with the exception of the entry-level 18e, are expected to receive upgraded 24 megapixel front cameras. A jump from the current 18 megapixel sensor, 24 megapixels on the front camera. Your selfies are about to look uncomfortably good. You've been warned. Let's talk about the dynamic island. When it launched on the iPhone 14 Pro, it was genuinely clever. Software turning a hardware problem into a feature. But it's also been sitting there a little pill, taking up space for 3 generations now. That changes. Face ID's flood illuminator is expected to move under the screen on the iPhone 18 Pro models, and leaked CAD indicates the dynamic island will reduce by 25 to 35% compared to previous generations. 25 to 35% smaller. It won't disappear entirely. Full under display. Face ID is still not here. But the display itself, the next Pro models will reportedly use LTPO plus display technology, which means the screen gets even smarter about when to drop its refresh rate. Lower refresh when you're reading something, still full 120 Hz when you need it. Less battery drain, more screen time. Add that to the bigger battery and the 2 nanometer chip efficiency. You're looking at a meaningfully better day-to-day battery experience, not a marketing stat, a real one. Oh, and the design? Apple plans to better blend the colors of the aluminum and glass areas for a more unified look, fixing the polarizing two-tone rear from the iPhone 17 Pro. Thank you, that two-tone thing was not it. And the new headline color, dark cherry, described as much closer to wine than fruit punch. Honestly, that sounds good. Here's the feature nobody is talking about enough. With the C2 modem, the iPhone 18 Pro models will reportedly support 5G via satellite for web browsing, without Wi-Fi, without cellular connectivity, not just emergency SOS, full internet access via satellite, where no cell tower exists. Apple has reportedly collaborated with Amazon's LEO satellite network to power this functionality after Amazon acquired Globalstar in early April 2026. So Amazon now owns the satellite network that powers your iPhone's connectivity features, and they're expanding it to full internet access. That's a sentence I didn't expect to be saying in 2026. Look, speeds will probably be limited. Don't expect to stream 4K on a mountain. But for travelers, hikers, people in rural areas who lose signal constantly, this is actually a big deal. And it might be the most underrated upgrade in the entire lineup. So, who should buy the iPhone 18 Pro if you're on an iPhone 15 or older? Yes, the combination of a better chip, bigger battery, variable aperture camera, satellite internet, and smaller dynamic island is a genuinely compelling package. If you're on an iPhone 16 Pro, The camera upgrade is the reason to consider it. Variable aperture is a real shift. Everything else is incremental. If you're on an iPhone 17 Pro, I'd wait. Unless the variable aperture is something you specifically care about, the camera was already great. And here's the caveat that matters most. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has flagged that the standard 18 Pro could be incrementally updated rather than dramatically redesigned. Variable aperture on the Pro Max specifically is what multiple leaks point toward. So if variable aperture ends up being Pro Max exclusive, the decision changes entirely. The Pro Max becomes the clear buy. The standard Pro becomes good, not great. We'll know in September. What I can tell you right now, this is the most interesting iPhone rumor cycle in about 3 years. Not because of what the phone does, because of what it means. Variable aperture on a phone camera is the kind of thing that 5 years from now we'll look back and say that was the year smartphones stopped pretending they couldn't compete with real cameras. And that's actually worth getting excited about. I'm curious, is variable aperture enough to get you to upgrade, or are you waiting to see what that foldable iPhone actually looks like first? Let me know. Catch you next video. Peace.